So, I'm here with Jason Sheridan from New York City, and we're discussing what led him to come into fencing teaching, coaching fencing. We're here, by the way, at the National Championships for the Summer Nationals. And where are we? Columbus, Ohio. Our second year in a row here. All right, Jason, you're from Queens.
From Queens.
Now, how do you start your first fencing?
You know, I started fencing late. I was older than the kids these days. Right now we've got like Y4 fencing going on right here. When I started, I was 17, so I was much older than a lot of other kids started.
Who taught you?
When I first started, I was at Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, and my first coach was Christina Macialis, and she was the head coach there. However,
I should say that Christina is very sensitive about her name, and it's now Christina Macialis Vaca, I think.
That is true.
Vaca. Christina Macialis Vaca.
That's right.
Okay.
So she was actually the very first coach I worked with. I worked with her. I worked with Matt Lampel, who was also a Vassar.
I remember him years ago.
Right, exactly. And so I started there, but I very quickly decided I needed to get more intense training. So I started working with Yuri Gelman at the Fencers Club in New York City. So anytime I'd be in town, back home from school, I would be at the Fencers Club. It was on 71st and Broadway, as you know. And it was there that I started really training, and young Aki Spencerell was there, and young Keith Smart was there, and old but younger Peter Westbrook was there.
And you're in Sabre now, was that it?
Of course, right away I was.
He's in Sabre with Yuri, okay.
Of course, and so training all the time there. Anytime I had a chance to come down from school, I was there.
What did they charge you for this?
A lot less than they charge now, I'll tell you that right now. So I was doing what I could. I was working as I could. I was getting stronger and stronger. After graduating from college, it was basically all I was doing, just training all the time at the Fencers Club.
What did you major in college?
English lit.
Okay.
So Vassar College is an excellent school for it. So I then, about a year out of college, I decided I wanted to up my training even more and start training in Europe. Now I didn't have any money to do that because I'm from humble people. So I decided I need to figure out a way to do that. The way that I figured out to do that was to join the Peace Corps. And I got very lucky with that because they could have sent me out to the middle of anywhere. In fact, they first offered me Africa, which didn't have as much fencing as I would have liked. So I said no thank you to that. But they came back to me with another offer later to go to Poland. So that was very fortunate just to get into Eastern Europe, which is what I wanted. And then they still could have put me in the middle of nowhere in Poland, but with a little bit of work and talking to the right people, they ended up putting me right outside of Katowice, which especially at that time was a real hub of fencing in Europe. It was a very, very fun place to go. So I got very lucky, and I was there at Katowice.
And tell our audience how you got Tchaikovsky to teach you.
Right. So when I first went there, I wasn't working with Zbigniew Tchaikovsky the first month or so I was there, though I wanted to very much because Zbigniew Tchaikovsky, world famous fencing coach, is an amazing guy. But he had no reason to take me on as a student. So I was talking to my friend Dariusz Gilman, who is now coach of and owner of Capital Fencing in DC area, and he recommended that I offer my services helping Tchaikovsky with his computer. Because he had a computer sent to him by Michael Marks. He didn't know how to use it. Yeah, Michael Marks sent him the computer as a gift, birthday gift or something, I don't quite remember. But Tchaikovsky didn't know how to use it. So I said, well, I'll help you.
What year is this?
So I went to Poland in, I'm going to say 99. So it would have been something in probably late 99. This would have been happening. And so I started helping Tchaikovsky a little bit with basic word what he had been doing up to then. He had an old typewriter. He was typewriting everything out, 3 fingers. He would hand it to someone to transcribe. It was a very belabored process. So I would go there. He would tell me some things. I'd make some changes in the computer, bring stuff up, send some emails. After a couple of times, I said, this is very nice. I'm helping you. I'm happy to do it. But if you could fit me into your schedule, I'd love to be your student. He said, of course. He's sitting there with his pipe. He said, of course. So that's how I got started with Tchaikovsky. And after that, it really ramped up. I was working with him all the time, of course. And
Tell me what he showed you. Something about Saber that you can describe that you really you didn't realize.
you know, I'm going to tell you actually the truth. Everything he showed me was something I didn't realize. He
Give me a couple of
completely
things.
changed the way I was looking at fencing.
Give me some
Before
things.
then, especially in Saber, I was thinking entirely of actions being premeditated. You're at the line, you say, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do it. It's rock, paper, scissors, and he blew that out of my brain so amazingly to make me realize that that's nothing at all like what's going on up there, or what needs to be going on like up there to want to really go to a higher level.
And describe it.
You know, we're just talking about things like being able to see and adapt to the situation as it's happening, being able to sort of, you can even go in with any number of plans, but sort of in the moment being able to change reflexively without even thinking about it to make the right choice. And the kind of training that requires is so different than anything I've ever seen before. And really, really amazing stuff. And in fact, a lot of those ideas we end up putting in his book, Understanding Fencing, because as I was working with him and we were doing more and more writing and articles and stuff, we eventually got together and said, let's put together a book in English. And that's how the book Understanding Fencing came about, which of course is a fantastic book, and it's got my picture in it. And it's a wonderful book, and many of those same ideas are in there. It's very dense to get through. And certainly working with him as long as I did helped a lot, because not only was I working with him as a student, but I enrolled in the Academy of Physical Education's fencing master program. So in that way, I got my fencing coaching degree, which helped me tremendously broaden my understanding way beyond what it had been before.
One more idea he gave you that you really had never even thought of.
Oh man, I mean, only one? Only one? Oh my God! Like I honestly couldn't even limit it to one. I mean, the idea of obviously I understood technique and I understood tactics, or thought I did anyway. But also the idea of technical tactical actions. So there's a hyphen between that, being that your ability to, and again, that's what I said before, perceive and react instantaneously without being consciously engaged in the process. It's almost, you know, it relates to things like flow state and other ideas that we have in sports science that we talk about, but grounded very much in fencing. So for example, we would do things in lessons where he was having me do, you know, maybe I'm making feints and making a feint cut, and without, you know, we do a few of them, and then out of nowhere, without me even having any idea what he was going to do, and wouldn't even tell me, he would try to make a counterattack, and I'd have to react correctly. And if I didn't, I would hear about it. But after training with him enough, you just do it automatically. You're making these great actions, something else comes up, and you react differently, and it's amazing. And you really start feeling incredibly empowered by this, and a lot more confident. You start to understand like how fencing works in terms of you moving in space in relation to the enemy. So this is really amazing. And the connection between all three weapons, when I was working with him, especially in the fencing master program, we had to study all three weapons. And I took a lot of lessons with him in epee just so I could get a better understanding. And the connection and the relationship between all the weapons was really, really important, because that gave me a much more intense understanding about how fencing works that I didn't even think existed. So that was really amazing.
Now, come back to New York.
Came back to
When
New
did you
York.
come back?
It was about 2004 that I came back to New York. And, you know, at first I had done a little bit of coaching. When I first came back, I did a little bit of coaching in California for a few months, but I wanted to come back to New York, so I came back to New York. And I said, well, I don't know if I really want to be a coach, I'm just what I'm doing. I started doing a little bit of coaching, and it just caught fire, and I really loved it. You know, I was doing it on the Upper West Side. I was working with a couple of people. They started a club over there, which I believe is closing now, so it doesn't really need to plug it. But John and Larissa Gonzalez they had New Amsterdam fencing. I started New Amsterdam fencing with them, and then I left after a few years, and I opened my own club.
And where is it?
That it is on the Upper East Side, Sheridan Fencing Academy. It's on 93rd and First. It's a beautiful location. Right street level, big windows. I'm very happy with it. And it's there particularly because I've been able to control the program and run it the way I like. I've really been able to accelerate our progress competitively as a club. We've gotten really, really amazing results there.
How did you get new people?
How did I market
How
the
did you
club?
market the club?
You know, there's all sorts of things we do. You know, doing things with Google, doing things with direct mailing, doing things with just outreach with the local schools and the people in the area. Like it's a multi-tiered process that is I'm always sort of stumbling my way through, trying to figure out.
Help?
I always try to get help where I can. My wife is in marketing. She's always giving me ideas that I don't capitalize on and then hear about. Anytime I can, I try to reach out to people who know more than me to try to see what I can learn. It's the same thing I do as a coach, actually. I try to reach out to people who know more than me to see what I can learn. So we've been growing and doing really, really well.
And your rent is cheap because it's Manhattan.
It's like free. It's like free. I mean, basically in Manhattan, they just give space away. They're like, just take it. We don't need it for anything. So that's a big load off my mind. I'll tell you that right now. So other than that part, it's very easy. Easy, I say, it's joking. It's very, very hard, actually. And yes, we've had great success. One of my students was world champion last year. NCAA champion this year.
What's her name?
Adrian Jiroki. She was an individual silver medalist at Junior Worlds last year in the women's saber, team gold medalist. This year she was team bronze medalist. I had two people on the team this year actually. I also had Ria Dube in cadet women's saber this year, and she of course has also been doing very, very well. And we have a lot of kids coming up. And for most of the season, we brought home medals from just about every national event. So it's been really, really nice. And last season we had tremendous results as well. It's been very, very nice. It's been very, very well.
Well, thank you very much for your story.
Thank you
We're
very
here
much.
in Columbus with Jason Sheridan. Jason, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Cut.